Hey there guys, it's VGNM, and this is Loadout, obviously. You can tell by the title, you can tell by what you're seeing on screen. I actually already did the audio for this game. It's weird, I'm not doing it in my usual format. I normally record the audio, whilst recording the video. However, with this one, because it's a review, I wanted to record after the fact so that I could get a slightly more comprehensive review in. I already recorded the audio once for this, although I got really sidetracked, ended up ranting for a good 50 minutes on issues that weren't even an issue. It was just me ranting, essentially. So, I'm here, I'm going to do it again, and hopefully might get some more common sense out of me. I might splice it up, use some of the older stuff as well, because some of the older stuff is still a thing. You'll probably be able to tell when I've cut it up, because you'll hear I'm a bit more ranty, I guess, if that's even a word. But yeah, it was. I went on a rant, and it wasn't really necessary. This game is decent. I don't know why I went on such a rant. I think I was just angry in general with quite a lot of the gaming industry itself. But we'll vie away from that subject, and we'll get back to the point. Loadout. Is it a good game? Well, for my money, it's decent. Quite frankly, it's. I gotta say, it's about a 6 out of 10. It's gone up since I last spoke about it, because they fixed some of the problems that were the major issues with it. And I found things out which actually increased my opinion on the game quite a bit. One of the major issues, as everyone will know, obviously, was the online system, the actual getting into matchmaking, and that is completely acceptable and understandable. That was because they didn't have the infrastructure to support the amount of players that were playing, because it was a really anticipated game. A lot of people wanted to play it. It was free to play, so a lot of people were playing it, and they couldn't support that many, and as such there were server problems that they've now pretty much ironed out. I mean, there will still be bugs, but it's acceptable now. It's acceptable. Before, it was taking about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to get into a game. Honestly, that's how long it took me. I fell asleep and woke up 40 minutes later, still hadn't even found a game. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. However, now they've ironed that out, so you know, that one was to be expected. And even in my previous video recording attempt, I did say, you know, that's to be expected, and it's completely fine, really. The game itself, getting into the core elements of the game, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's just, it doesn't feel fluid enough, if I'm being completely honest. Other games feel more fluid. I don't know, this could just be a personal thing, because, I mean, I didn't like Mass Effect. Here we go, here comes the hate. I didn't like Mass Effect because it didn't feel fluid enough. It felt really clunky, the controls felt clunky, the way the map worked, everything about the game just felt disjointed. And just, yeah, not smooth, not flowing. With the Loadout, it's kind of the same. It's nowhere near as bad as Mass Effect, if I'm being honest, in that respect. It's just that the maps themselves feel like they could do with a little bit of a tweaking, because it really does feel like the only way to traverse any map effectively is to either be constantly rolling or constantly jumping, because there's enough like little bumps on the ground that it really hinders your progress. Just small like little raises and drops and stuff like that really hinder your maneuverability. And as such, it just feels a little bit clunky. Like the maps are slightly oversized for one, the way that the movement works, and two, for the number of players as well. I've played in quite a few games, and it just feels like the maps are really empty. I don't know if it's just because it's new or what, but I'm used to playing in quite big games, and you know, small maps, big number of people, that sort of thing. And when it's not like that, it's very, very tactical. This game is neither, unfortunately. It's not overly tactical, and from what I've played of it, it's pretty much you run at the enemy, you jump around, you shoot the ground that they're stood at, and you get the kill. That's essentially how it's been played. And I understand that a lot of people will say, well, there are different ways of playing it, like you can long range, but at the end of the day, to be most effective, I found that it's about getting in close, doing the damage, and then getting out. You know, you've got to outmaneuver your opponent to a sense. The reason that you outmaneuver your enemies is because of the fact that there are literally really only two weapons that do any sort of real damage. And that's got to be or not that do any damage, but I mean that are effective. and that's got to be the pulse rifle and the laser beam. The reason is that the rocket launcher, the rockets are just too slow to be that effective. Like, your team, the person that you're shooting at has either got to be completely immobile, or you've got to be like point blank, or you've got to be the Nostradamus of predictions. You need to know where they're going to be, because the rockets are so slow. And then if you add into that mixture the fact that the rockets can be shot out of midair as well, rocket launchers aren't the best weapon to be using. The same with the rifles. The rifles are better than rocket launchers, I would say, but they don't deal as much damage as the pulse rifle does. It is faster, the projectile travels faster, however, it's not as, damage dealing as, say, the pulse rifle or the laser rifle. Of course, they have kind of balanced it out in several different ways, and there are many ways of playing it, and if there's a style that works for you that uses one of those weapons, fair enough, go for it. But for me personally, that's what this game has kind of been. And whilst we're on the subject of customization, actually, here is, let's just talk about the weapons. The weapons, yes, there are a lot of customizations for the weapons. However, I feel that probably later on down the line, not so much now, because people are still experimenting and seeing what works now, but I feel that later on down the line, the problem is going to be that, yes, there are thousands of customizations, and yes, you can use so many different types of weapons, and, you can really mix it up. However, I reckon there's probably going to be about 4, maybe 5 weapons that are the weapon combinations to use, and you're just going to see these 5 weapon combinations just online everywhere. It's going to be a case of, you can use these other weapon combinations, but they're just not as good as these 5 particular ones, because I find that's the way it is with most customization games, where you get to customize your weapons in particular. There's always a particular customization that works better than the rest. It's just... yeah, it's just a thing, if I'm honest. You can take Call of Duty, for example. There were literally a couple of weapons in that game. I'm talking Modern Warfare 2 here, because I didn't play the other ones. There were literally a couple of weapons in that game where you could just use them with a particular sort of loadout, and then you could win, essentially. If your enemies didn't have the same sort of guns, or if they were on the same sort of level as you, you could easily overpower them because you had the better weaponry. As such, I feel that Loadout later on down the line is probably going to turn into that sort of a mechanic. Whilst on the subject of customizations, we'll move swiftly on to character customizations. Now, I like character customizations. I like customizations in general. I think the more customization, the better. The more that you can personalize something, the better it is as far as I'm concerned, because then you get a real sense of achievement when you get a kill. People, you get a kill, and then they're looking at your character, and then it's very unique. It's very you, That right there, that was you. It wasn't just, you outplayed them. That entire character is you. People like customization. That's one thing which I've always said. People love customization. But I think the character customization could be better, if I'm honest. You can unlock items through the crates which you get after your daily bonus, or after each round. I can't remember which one it is. But you can unlock items like clothing and trousers, whatever, accessories, through the crates. However, for most people, they don't really want to wait. They're kind of going down the route that TF2 went when it comes to character customization, and they're allowing you to pay to customize it. Now, that's all fair enough. That's, people want to pay. That's fine. They can pay. However, I was doing the maths earlier, and I'm going to quickly cut to my previous recording when I'm doing the maths on how much people would actually be paying for a customized character. I've actually got a calculator up, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work out how much normally, minus the saving, so the 1600, 24%, we'll ignore that for the moment. I want to work out how much per pence you get gold coins. So per pence gold coins. Let's work this out. So we'll go with the smallest one, 600. 600 divided by 69. Okay, 600 coins divided by 69. What's that? We get 8.69. We'll keep it. We'll round it up as well. We'll call it 9. We'll call it 9 coins for the sake of giving them the benefit of the doubt here as to whether or not they round or not, which I'm assuming they would, but you never know with these companies. So 9 coins. You get 9 coins to the pence. Now let's have a quick look at how much some of these things actually cost. So we've already got the transfer ratio here. Let's see here. The Tiger Thong, one of the most expensive items that I saw on the actual market. Okay, so this is one of the most expensive. So this will be a bit unfair, but it gives you a good sort of idea as to how much they're actually charging. So we know that it's divided by 9, essentially. Whatever the coinage is, we're just dividing it by 9. So let's go 6,799 divided by 9. We'll take that, we'll multiply that, we'll divide that by 100, and we get ourselves £7.55. So it really is a case of, do you want to be paying £7.55 for a tiger thong? One of the cheapest things I saw on there was the cigar for $9.99. Was it $9.99 or $7.99? I can't remember. It's one of the two. We'll quickly do the math as if it was $7.99. Give it the benefit of the doubt again. So 799 divided by 9, and we'll divide that by 100 as well. So okay, that's only 88 pence, which isn't a lot. Let's be honest, that's not a lot. But when you then consider that is one item out of a possible 5, 10, 15 different items that you can then get, not including taunts, sorry, you can get different taunts as well. 15 different items, okay, so if you assume that you buy them all at the cheapest price of 88 pence, that is going to take you up to £13 already. If you assume that you're going to spend the maximum, which is about £7.50 for the sake of argument, times that by 15, suddenly we're looking at £112 to customise your own character, which is, like I said, ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's too much money to be asking, you know, £112 from one customer for a free-to-play game. I can understand what they're getting at, and I can understand they do need to make a profit, but I feel like for a new game, they have overpriced and they've kind of overestimated what people really want to pay. I mean, I know I don't want to, but then again, I'm pretty cheap. I'm not gonna lie. I drink the 20 pence Little Own brand Pepsi rip-off. That's a Coke rip-off. You know, I think it's a bit audacious what they're doing. You know, they're going straight to pay for customization, and I don't think they should really be doing that just yet. They're assuming that they're on par with like TF2, for instance, and I don't think that's really true. I mean, personally, I still prefer TF2 over Team Fortress 2 over Loadout, and that's fine, that's fair, that's acceptable. You know, that's my own opinion. Whatever. We're not dealing in facts here. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. We're just talking about my personal opinion, and you know, that's fair enough. But I think that they're overestimating the value of their own game in a sense. I mean, yes, everyone is on the hype for it right now, but I don't know if people are going to be on the hype for it later on down the line. And I think one of the things that they could have done to keep people around is make quite a lot of the items just kind of a lot cheaper, or you know, just make them just easier to get in terms of unlocking, because people want to be able to customize, but they don't want to spend lots of money, like I just worked out you would be doing. Other than that, I gotta say it's a pretty good game. The premise is good. There are bits in it which make me laugh, such as being able to walk around as just a head, as a brain with eyes, or walk around with no head. You know, you can have your leg blasted off. That's cool. The art style is unique. Well, I say unique. It's not an overly used one, so it's an art style that I can get behind. All round, it's a 6 out of 10 game. I gotta say, it's not one of my personal favourites, but 6 out of 10 isn't a bad score. This is one of the problems that people have nowadays, is that anything lower than a 7.5 and people say it's not a good game, which is completely wrong, because as far as I'm concerned, there should only ever be one 10 out of 10 game. That is the best game. Nothing else can beat it. That's a 10 out of 10 game, and there can only be one 10 out of 10 game. So everything below it, right, if it's a 9 out of 10 game, it means it was so close to being a 10 out of 10, but it's not quite, you know. And I think a 5 out of 10 is average. A 5 out of 10 is I sit down, I play for maybe 6 hours, and then I never play it again. That's like an average sort of game. You know, a 5 out of 10, that's the sort of game it is. So giving it a 6 out of 10, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm actually saying it's good. It's good, but it could be better. It honestly could be. Like, if you was to compare it to TF2, I would give TF2 an 8 out of 10. because it's really good. I enjoy that game. I've got like 200 and something hours gameplay, but I think quite a lot of people are going to be drawing up the comparison between TF2 and Loadout. So I'm gonna stay away from that now. In fact, I'm gonna end the video. Yeah, in total, 6 out of 10. That's my own personal review. You don't have to take my word for it. It's a free-to-play game. Go and give it a go if you want. It's worth a laugh. It's worth a laugh, especially if you're playing with mates. You might get frustrated. I mean, I did at times, but you know, that's because I have different expectations from games, really, and it just really wasn't my sort of game. So yeah, go give it a go. It's free on Steam, free to play, and I hope this has been helpful to you. Like and favourite if you've enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more content, and as always, don't forget to share the love. We'll see you next time. Yeah.